Hey everyone, how's it going? I haven't made a lot of content recently, and it's kind of a mix between, like, life's kind of bumming me out a little bit, mixed with existential crisis, and it's been hard to pull together something that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things and put it into a video to present to you all. But that brings me to the topic of today's video. It is a bit of a down note to come back on to be talking about this, but it's a video that I initially planned on making like over a year ago, back in May and June of last year. And it was about originally a number of different YouTubers who were all talking about the same thing that never actually came to fruition. And that was all about the Switch Pro rumors that were so prolific in the lead up to E3 last year. So I guess based on that, you can guess what the tone of the video would have been if I had gone down that road. But what happened was the Switch Pro rumors didn't actually pan out back in June, and a lot of the creators walked themselves back from that, probably not as gracefully as they could have.
There's going to be a lot of you coming at me. A lot of you coming at the believers. A lot of you screaming fake news. A lot of you coming at me and going, you are milking the hell out of Switch Pro. You're just doing it for the clicks. You're just trying to make that cash money and make it rain on all of you. Or at least make it rain on me. And I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, the videos don't make money. We have ads for none. Every video we do makes money.
But it ended up being something I didn't feel was worthy of my time to put together a video on. But one individual caught my eye, because he, I stayed subscribed to him about a month or two ago. He got himself into a similar situation, and then he had to walk himself back out of it again. So I nearly got up out of my chair. He course corrected. I sat back down again. And then more recently, he had another faux pas where he kind of just crapped all over himself and again had to walk himself out of it, and he did a really bad job of it this time. So you kind of see this pattern of this guy continuously crapping his pants and then having to crawl out of them, for want of a better terminology. And so you can see the pattern that I'm laying out. He continues on these sort of like lulls and pitches of bad controversies and then having to pull himself out of it. So I thought it was worth talking about, not to make myself feel good or to make fun of the guy, because the latter will be a byproduct of this anyway, and the former won't happen. I'll just end up feeling more jaded and crappy. But I feel like it's a useful method to go through for not only myself, not only for the individual I'm talking about, but for anybody out there who's thinking of making content and doing this inflammatory stuff, and then how to address it when you eventually get caught out about it. But
we can't ignore it, and we gotta talk about it.
So Zach from Switch Force, I hope you do see this. I hope you take on the feedback. I'll try not to be as brutal as I would have been if I'd paired you up in the video with Nintendo Prime, like I was planning to originally. But hey, we're gonna go on a bit of a ride. Let's strap in and have a look, right?
I just ask that you be cool, you be level-headed, and you be respectful of everybody involved. Not just me, but everybody, okay?
I think if you take on some of this feedback that I'm about to deliver, adjust the way that you operate, you may go on to be a little bit more resilient in the way that you deliver videos and actually piss people off less, so you don't have to have such a high level of resilience. So let's start with the first thing that I take issue with. The first thing a lot of people take issue with, and that has caught Zach out in the past, and that's his innate ability to present theory or speculation as fact.
Guys and girls, Nintendo Switch Pro, there are multiple reports coming in hot. This thing is happening, and it seems like the reveal could be imminent, like any day now. We've got new details on release. We got new details on reveal. We got new details on price and what they plan to do with the OG Switch. So a lot to dive into and discuss. This is super exciting. I'm going to try to contain myself, but this is what I live for. You're getting a slew of N64, a bunch of SNES, a ton of NES, Genesis, and now Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, GCN. This is now cemented as like a super good value. We're talking the listing, the reveal, the launch lineup, and more. So get cozy, buckle in. It's another awesome night. This Switch Pro is going to be revealed before E3 imminently, any day now. It didn't happen today, Thursday, like maybe they thought, but we still have time. And it's going to release September to October. It's going to be more expensive than the $300 current Switch. It's going to have a better screen, better chipset, and be the future for Nintendo's hardware. You can upgrade your Switch to the Switch Pro, okay? But if Nintendo is about to have a big fall like we expect them to have, and we know that you got Pokemon Legends, Splatoon 3, and Breath of the Wild 2 out in the horizon, you can upgrade to the Switch Pro, or you can get 7 new games for your Switch. That is a really tough dilemma at that point. During none of the earlier rumors did something like this ever pop up. That's how you know it's serious this time. That's how you know this is real. That's how you know this is happening. So I'll have you guys covered. Do not worry. Just stay tuned here. Turn your notification bell on.
So all through those clips that I just played, that's Zach talking about things that have not been confirmed. They are just bits and pieces of information that he's taken from a source, and he's managed to twist and manipulate them into something that he can put into a video that matches the narrative of what he wants to talk about that day.
The game can be played, right? It's going to be on both. They're not going to have an exclusive Breath of the Wild 2, so you would be able to play it, you just wouldn't be able to play it in 4K, which it's not much of a consolation, but at least it would be something. I really hope they're able to work out a worldwide release, and I really hope they're able to work out some sort of pipeline to push this thing so scalpers cannot snatch on and make our lives miserable.
With this particular comment here, he could just say, if this were true, then I imagine that the games would run on both current and new Switch. Or just insert a few more like the rumored Switch as he's talking about the Switch. He doesn't need to talk about it as if it is something that is definitely happening, because he just digs a hole that he's putting himself into that makes everyone believe that he's at 100% believing that a brand new Switch is coming with a chipset that's going to split games between the old and the new.
Switch Pro is still coming. It's coming soon. The games are going to get a serious upgrade with 4K DLSS graphics, a nice OLED screen, and a much sexier Switch. Nintendo Switch OLED model, and this is a quote, Nintendo Switch OLED model does not have a new CPU or more RAM from previous Nintendo Switch models.
He was talking about this back in June or July when a Nintendo Switch Pro was heavily rumored that was going to have a different level of performance, which we know never actually panned out.
And the whole line of thinking that this needed to happen before E3 so that these companies could reveal their games as Switch Pro titles, that seems to be totally legit.
So you can kind of see now, with the power of retrospect, that talking this way is kind of giving people false hope, or a false sense that you think that something's going to happen that isn't. Is never confirmed. He does himself a real disservice by going on a huge spiel based on his own thoughts and speculations without drawing a lot of attention to the fact that the reason he's talking about it is because it's a tweet from a known leaker, or it's an article from Bloomberg, which is usually like an analyst's report on what they speculate is going to happen with the industry and not based on actual fact. Or some other arbitrary piece of information that he's gathered from somewhere or another that he's been able to sort of manipulate and twist together and then spin off into a 10-minute long video so that he can reach his ad revenue and monetization requirements. I know he doesn't intend it this way, and it has resulted in him a number of times having to walk himself back from unforeseen events that never came to be. So a great example of this is prior to E3 in 2021, there was a lot of noise about a Switch Pro, which we've spoken about already. There was a lot of belief and speculation that it was going to be released imminently prior to, or at least announced prior to 2021, with the idea being that there were a lot of developers that were coming to that event who didn't want to announce their games without people knowing that the Switch could support them on a better hardware and chipset. Hey, Nick from the future here while editing this video. Unfortunately, at this point of the video, my camera actually ran out of memory, and so every other clip after this one is only like a couple of seconds long, and so there's going to be no more visuals of me until right at the end when my camera actually ran out of batteries and I started recording on my phone. So I guess a saving grace for you guys, you don't have to look at this ugly mug anymore. You just have to put up with my voice for the next couple of minutes or however long this is going to stretch on for. Apologies. I know this is really unprofessional. I'm really rusty because it's been so long. But thank you for sticking with the video so far. So for Zach's channel, a lot of the hype for him started building when he found a thing for Amazon and for Best Buy that kind of confirmed that there was a new Nintendo Switch coming, because he believes that they are reputable sources.
We have a new Nintendo Switch Pro listing page that popped up on Amazon Mexico. Now, Amazon, pretty good, right? This isn't just one of those random smaller websites. It is Amazon.
And it's kind of like a chicken egg situation, because they may simply just be responding to a leaked tweet that he was also responding to, and they saw all the hype and news build from social media, and so they start getting questions from customers, and so they want to secure the pre-order, right? So they put up a page for if it ever eventuates, because if it doesn't, you can always just cancel that pre-order page and the card never gets charged. So you had all of this momentum building where kind of these two different areas were feeding off one another, the social media aspect like Zach and Switchforce and Nintendo Prime and all these other channels creating all of this hype, and then their viewers going to their regular retailers and saying, we want to pre-order this thing that we're hearing about. And it all probably came from an actual legitimate leak that, you know, the Nintendo OLED system has entered production, and then people speculating with what they want, what they'd like to see, and it just entering the zeitgeist and people thinking that this is actually going to happen. So it also mounted with like an hour-long stream that Zach did with his buddy Gabe, and they were just basically talking about the countdown to when pre-orders would go live. Like, it's going to happen.
To get through a bunch of interesting things. First off, there's some breaking news for the Switch Pro that, I mean, look, there's no two ways about it. If this thing doesn't happen tomorrow, the internet is a lie. Like, it's completely a lie. So we're going to go through that. I want to show you guys what's up. And then me and Gabe are going to kind of talk with you about our final Switch Pro predictions, our discussion, and kind of get this on the record and get this moment captured together.
They went for an hour long, having viewers jump in and drop out, you know, wondering when it was going to happen, and it's all based on speculation. Who does this benefit aside from Switchforce, because it gets them clicks and views, and they get to monetize it. So once E3 was done and dusted, and games were announced that were going to be just operating fine on the regular Switch model that we had at the time, we moved into July. Then something finally happened that seemed to validate everything that Zach had been covering in his channel for the last, since the Nintendo Switch was first released, and that was a new model of Switch was going to be announced.
Guys and girls, after all those rumors, after all that hype, after all those videos I made, it's freaking real. It's freaking real. The Switch Pro is coming on October 8th. Nintendo just announced it, and it's called Switch OLED. Oh, smash that like button. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's experience this together. A new era. OLED screen. Okay, same Joy-Con. Man, I'm so glad this is real. All those videos, they're not for nothing. I knew it. Enhanced audio, okay. Clubhouse games. So it's the same size, just a wider screen. Any new games? Mario Party Superstars, okay. Was that Ring Fit? Not Ring Fit 2, right? Smash. Okay. OLED model, October 8th, there we go. It's real. All the haters and doubters, it is here. Bloomberg, redeemed. All the leakers, redeemed. Features a vibrant 7-inch OLED screen, a wide adjustable stand, a dock with a wired LAN port, and a little wiggle. 64 gigs of internal storage. That's 64 gigs in 2021. Okay, you know, the OG Switch is half that, so I guess this is doubling it up. Notice, there's no push for 4K, or at least no mention, which basically assures you the games are not going to be split, right? Yeah, they're not advertising anything new. Ooh! New boxes, look at that. Okay, I just want to see. It doesn't say anything about 4K. I'm trying to like zoom in on the box here. Battery life is the same. Battery life is the same. But they're not telling us like, oh, view full specs. Is this gonna get it for us? Okay, 720p screen. There's no 4K. That is gonna be something we have to discuss. No 4K. This is not a 4K Switch. And I am just feeling all interesting now. It's not 4K. Interesting, not 4K. Okay, guys and girls. So it's, wow. Wow. We're gonna have to deep dive into all of this, but right now, I just want to enjoy the moment. Let's play the trailer one more time and see what we got going on here. New Switch, baby. We called it. It's real, and I love you. This love is real. So until next time, Switch Force out.
It became increasingly obvious throughout the trailer that he had a level of disappointment. And for me, if it was me making this video, and I was promising you guys that we we're going to get a 4K model that's going to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that you're going to get to play another third-party game that I can't think of right now on day one, and I saw that it wasn't going to deliver on that, I would have stopped making the video. And I know this is just me. I know that Zach is all about bringing the hype, letting you go along the journey with him. He talks about that.
I thought it was a real direct too. I got super pumped too. I was taking you on the adventure with me. That's sort of what this is about, right? Like, if you wanted to just read a headline, you just, I don't know, get like a freaking Reuters aggregator app thing, right? You just follow Reddit threads. My job is to make a fun, exciting, informative place for you guys to talk Nintendo, learn Nintendo, find out what's going on, get my opinion.
He started off this... It aged badly for him, this particular video. As soon as he saw that 4K wasn't supported and that all we're getting is a nice to have and not a need to have with the OLED model, he should have cut down, changed tact, started recording again and say, look guys, it's not what we expect, but it still looks pretty nice. If you haven't got a Switch, this is a really great opportunity to get in there with a high-end looking nice LED screen. Zach, it's just a poor journalistic decision to make that you record a video where you're saying it's the Switch Pro, and for you the Switch Pro encompasses a number of things, and all things are pretty much not delivered by this video. So to record the whole thing, release it and say the Switch Pro is here, when you know that at the end of the video it's not, who cares about bringing your viewers on the journey of you discovering that you were wrong? Deliver something that's worthwhile, that is going to let them know from the get-go. I mean, look at your engagement time. You can't tell me that everybody watches your videos beginning to end. If somebody watched the first 2 minutes of it and went, cool, it's a Switch Pro, great, I'm going to order it, they would have been sorely disappointed. And then Zach immediately released a video following this that talks about what the OLED is and what it isn't. So that was another opportunity for him to create more content, spin it out, get more views, get more clicks, because everyone who watched the first one will probably watch the second one as well to get that context, because it was missing the first time. So why not spend the time to actually make some cohesive and valuable content that will give people everything they need, rather than going through this whole rigmarole of getting their hype up, stoking them up, and then bringing them back down. And that, at the same time, doubling up on the ad revenue. For me, it's a really shitty move. Sure, you can argue that he did say in the title, not 4K, in brackets, but it was so many characters further along that you can't actually see that on most devices until you click into the video and expand it. And that's not why you open up a video. You open up a video to watch it. Use the title to inform whether or not you want to watch it. And it is really sad because you do see the realization seeping in. Like, if you wanted to bring us on the journey, this is probably not a journey I would have shown somebody. I would have censored this out and done something a little bit more honest, transparent, and upfront with my audience. But that's just me. Again, you're going to do what you want. I think in this case it was a bad judgment call. So sadly, this kind of builds on the idea that for Zach, anything is content. Watching a trailer is content because you can watch him react to it. And then breaking down that trailer later and the reaction is content again, where other creators would probably just lump that all together and say my reaction and thoughts are this, but this is what the actual matter of fact is, and do with it what you will. So rather than making good decisions and curating the news that he's going to deliver to his audience, he'll just deliver everything to his audience and let the court of public opinion decide on what should have been left out and what shouldn't have, and then it all gets buried next week with another raft of episodes and videos that are going to just fill up his timeline. So this whole thing was made a lot worse because a month prior, in June, when there were those heavy rumours about the Switch Pro, Zach made sure to take every opportunity to cover every single leak, rumour, or news piece that came out. And that resulted in that final countdown live stream. So all this news and hype was building up, and then it immediately kind of broke down from another tweet from a known leaker. I can't remember who, but it resulted in Zach making this really tone-deaf statement about how disappointed we are. All of us are, including himself, when people report on things that are not true.
And when you say, hey, it's about to happen, we get super hyped. Whether you want to say that's our fault or their fault, or I don't want to attribute any fault, it's just the fact of the matter. We were all excited for this, and it didn't happen. Nobody meant anything ill or intentionally bad. They weren't trying to lead us astray. I really think there just was some mixed signals. I mean, even all these retailers, do you really think they were all pranking us?
And like, that's just so, it's so hypocritical that he would say we're all disappointed because of what's happening, where he's covering a lot of this and broadcasting it and putting a spotlight on it. and then to turn around and say to the people who are leaking, who turn around and say, it's not happening, to say we are all disappointed. You're not we. You are you, and you're giving the information to us. So you don't get to say we are disappointed. He's conveniently forgetting that he was somebody who reported on this heavily and then profited from it in the amount of clicks and views that he got from, as well as sponsorship deals, from all of the hype that was building around it. So that was never acknowledged, and it just feels a little bit shitty that he let that slide, and when push came to shove, he was also disappointed, so we should all feel bad for him as well as our own feelings.
Which sucks and isn't fun, and we were so excited, but it really seems Switch Pro is still coming. It's coming soon. The games are gonna get a serious upgrade with 4K DLSS graphics.
And look, let's be completely honest, it's not 100% Zach's fault here. There's a personal responsibility everyone has for the amount of hype that they, I guess, invest in something that isn't yet confirmed. But then there's also kind of the subtle way that media works these days in conditioning people to be open to, receptive, and absorbing good news. I don't know what it is, but just over the last 2.5 years or so, whenever there's good news, people latch onto that, and they really need that, you know?
We feel like if we can get America to all pitch in for the next 15 days, we can flatten the curve, which is a term that you've been hearing a lot, not overwhelm our healthcare systems.
Oh yeah, I'll stay inside. It's 2 weeks. I'll stay inside for 2 weeks just to flatten the curve. I won't go out, and that way I won't get sick, and 2 weeks from now, can have a nice catch up with my mates and get out and enjoy some sunshine.
If you get vaccinated, you are protected, even with the Delta variant.
Okay, yeah, look, I'll take an experimental drug, that, maybe even twice, if it means that I can finally go outside, because it's been like 1.5 years, and I'm really missing getting some of that vitamin D. I'm open to that. That sounds great.
A new Switch hardware-related listing will go live on June 4th around midnight.
Okay, yeah, I need to buy a Nintendo Switch Pro because I've been in here for so long, and I'm just going insane, and I'd love that right now. That sounds like a piece of me. And what this guy's talking about, I'm down with. I'm smelling what he's selling, and that sounds like a positive bit of news, finally. So like I said, there is a level of responsibility on the audience who are drinking the Kool-Aid to just apply some common sense and see the wood for the trees. But at the same time, Zach could so easily just adjust his approach and minimize the amount of hate he gets for the way that he delivers news. And so that kind of nicely wraps up this first segment, talking about his presentation skills and the way he talks about things, but it leans in nicely to the next section, which is what his viewers see before they even click on a video, and that's his clickbait.
All right, gather around. Come on, showing my age here. Gather around, kids. We need to talk. Today's talk, it's an important one about clickbait. All you do is clickbait. All you do is lie. All you do is clickbait. Stupid clickbait. This is clickbait, and it sucks.
Zach loves colloquial terms. He uses them all the time in his videos or plays on them. And so here's one for you, Zach. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
I could screenshot you 1,000 texts between me and my editor, Gabe, where I'm like, is it too much? Is it fine? And we always whittle it down till it is the lowest it can be.
So you claim that you have a dialogue with your buddy Gabe about the titles and the images that you're going to use for the thumbnails for all of your videos, and that you could just so easily show people these conversations where you've scrutinized and agonized over what you're going to use as a title and a thumbnail for your videos. Why not just show us?
And I agonize over these titles because I don't want them to be clickbait. I don't want them to be clickbait. I don't think they are. I never make the title thinking it's clickbait. And I could screenshot you 1,000 texts between me and my editor, Gabe, where I'm like, is it too much? Is it fine? And we always whittle it down till it is the lowest it can be while still being engaging.
You make this statement several times. If you have such frequent dialogue, if the conversations are readily available, and if you know that people are scrutinizing you because of, it seems like you're just willy-nilly picking titles that are just going to catch people's eyes, why not take us through that creative process of, here's your initial product that you're going to put in there, here's the discussion, here's how you trimmed it down, and here's the end result. Kind of like that Pro CD skit of clickbait.
Ah, wait! You won't believe. You won't believe? Won't believe? That doesn't mean anything. Why would you, and 80,000 people shared it on Facebook.
I mean, it said I wouldn't believe it.
I know you did try to cull back the titles for a time following that video, and that you put in little brackets around if it was going to be a theory or a rumor or a leak. And this is one of those instances of where you'd walked yourself back from a faux pas. And I think, you know, all the power to you. But that's kind of stopped now, hasn't it? You've kind of gone back to doing things the way you did now that all the noise has died down.
A lot of times it's not clickbait.
So remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Here is a thumbnail from 4 months ago about the Game Boy Advance coming to Nintendo Switch. And then here's what Zach said about it in his video.
Let's go! Let's freaking go, Nintendo! Making the moves we've been begging them to make and we've been waiting for. This is breaking news, my friends, so I gotta bring it to you here first on Switch Force. The brand new Game Boy Advance emulator for Nintendo Switch Online, the official one from Nintendo, is here. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Make sure to hit that like button if you're excited for GBA games on Nintendo Switch. They're happening, right? They are going to give us Game Boy, not just Game Boy and Game Boy Color, but like everything that Game Boy means. And that definitely, absolutely, 100% means Advance. It's kind of like expansion pack round 2. Round 1 had N64 and Genesis. Round 2 has the suite of Game Boy games. And I would love to see this populate on our Switches next week.
This never actually ended up happening, and you would have thought, given all the feedback your audience gave you, that you'd be more careful about publishing things like this again. And yet here we are, 6 days ago, a thumbnail was published with the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube both within the thumbnail, suggesting that these are coming to the Nintendo Switch. In this video, Zach opens a very disconnected dialogue on which console he thinks would be best suited to enter the expansion pass library next.
Every September, they usually love to do a big update. Last year, they brought in the expansion pack, and oh, what month is it? September. A Direct is coming? Yes. Nintendo Switch Online is going to get a substantial increase in the coming days, and I think there's an interesting debate on which way they should go. I feel like when you're looking at a set of mostly 2D games that are of a more bite-sized nature, those correlate more to a modern indie or a modern eShop game. And so I think we would be, even if at first blush you disagree, I think we would be more likely to put more time into the GBA stuff than into the GameCube stuff.
A lot of times it's not clickbait.
Note that he does very little again to say that it's all hypothetical. So for the casual viewer who's just jumping in to watch one video or another every now and again, having this thumbnail and the casual manner of which he's speaking about, for me it would sound like this is actually happening. And I don't know where this image came from. I reverse image searched it and couldn't locate it anywhere, which I know it could just be something, an existing artifact somewhere that he's just zoomed in on to make the thumbnail. But it's also very possible that he just photoshopped this like he does with a lot of his other thumbnails as well. So he's actually mindfully creating, willingly creating images that are not correct, making it look like it's from a Nintendo website or a direct somewhere, a screen grab from one of those, and putting it into the thumbnail. I don't know why he's doing this. It very much goes against the statement he made that he tries to minimize clickbait. He is very much using it.
I am trying to do what I can to keep the channel in a good, healthy spot.
Throughout this video, Zach makes it sound very much like the Game Boy Advance is coming to Nintendo Switch. And it's not.
More Nintendo 64 games are on the way.
It would have been a lot simpler just to say there is an emulator and let people speculate for themselves. People are smart. You don't need to break down the range of applications it could have for people. They will already be figuring it out. So to speculate that it's coming to Switch and then to add narratives to it that make no sense purely to get a 10-minute video out of it just feels, again, predatory and scummy.
When you give your everything to something and then people hate it and genuinely believe that you're conniving and scummy, it can get to the best of us.
So we've spoken about Zach's lack of integrity and the way he reports on news, often blurring the lines between what is fact and what is his own inherited speculation. He followed up his clickbait video a few weeks later with a video titled, like, My Most Honest Video Ever. And in that video, he goes into a lot of detail on a lot of different topics. And so that's what my third point to address is going to be. And it's going to kind of be branching and weaving in amongst itself because they're all kind of interconnected. And they all kind of link back to points he addresses in that video. And it's mostly around Zach's brand. And this is how he is perceived from his viewers who trust in him and then the general community as well.
The more of me I put into these videos, I think the better you understand me, and the more this channel becomes a living, breathing thing.
So Zach has created a parasocial relationship with his audience because he's fun. He's a positive guy on his videos, and he's always wearing a persona of someone likable and friendly.
What is wrong with me that people take such issue with every little thing that I do?
Okay, maybe not always.
And I tried to figure it out. Like, I tried to think, like, is it because I'm young looking? Is it because I'm happy all the time, and so it seems like I'm putting on this facade? Is it because I don't have the same... I don't know. And there is no figuring it out.
And that's great, you know. I think it's great that he's bringing positivity. I see people commenting that he made their day just by being happy and open with them, which is awesome. You know, if that's bringing joy to people, I can't fault him on that. I think that's great. He also uses the poll hack to engage with more people as well. We all know, all YouTubers do it. But he uses a range of things as well, like what cereal do you like, rather than keeping it focused on the main point of his channel. And again, he would say it's, well, I'm a fun guy, I'm a happy guy, I like to engage with people, I like to know what they do in their personal life. It's kind of double-edged because he's using it to engage with more people, because we know that the poll gets a wider audience than who you just view, and if you vote on that poll, then you'll get that person's video suggested to you later on. But the other side of that is he's creating this dynamic relationship with his fans where you feel a step closer to him because you get to have little insights into his life. You get to see him having a conversation with his grandma in a video, or
Hi, Grandma. How are you?
Or he tells you that he's just, you know, had a bike ride and he's sweating or he's feeling hot.
Oh, man. Hi. I just got back from a brainstorming bike ride, and it is still wicked hot here.
And these little personal touches that let you see a little bit more of his character. He's not just a news reporter, he is a person, which he is. We're all people. I'm in no way saying it's a bad thing. You do what you need to on this platform to be able to survive, thrive, and get the views that you need to keep going, right? Either whether that's the mentality of getting the endorphin hit when you see a video do well, or getting the money from the ad revenue or the sponsorships. And these practices that he uses, and having the positivity and doing the polls and just putting himself in his videos and putting himself out there, I think, in my own opinion, they're less unhealthy than the clickbaiting things we spoke about previously. But it still creates a problem, and again, it's not entirely of Zach's creation. There is now an expectation on Zach from his audience that they'll see him every morning with the news and that he's going to be happy, bouncy, and bubbly, which is an unfair expectation to put on anybody, but when he isn't able to deliver on that, people just kind of, they notice and they tear him apart, you know?
You know, you just have a bad day. And this string of comments just sent me to a sad place that I hadn't experienced in such a long time I couldn't even tell you the last time.
When he isn't happy, when he wants to share an opinion that might grate with people or goes against the grain, when he wants to share his honest opinion about Sonic,
well, then everyone loses their minds.
The magnitude of that opinion is felt far more effectively and aggressively than it would be if somebody like RGT85 was sharing his opinion, because RGT85 in general is just a more cynical person and he shares views of different scales. So Zach's kind of set himself up with this positivity mindset. Come here for all of your cozy cup of tea, frickin' Nintendo news. We're not going to swear or cuss anyone out. And then when he wants to share an opinion of a game that he thinks is a waste of your money to help you, even though you can do what you want with your money, people just rip them apart. And I'm not trying to be a wet blanket here to Zach. Like, I just don't know how the guy can remain so positive all the time. It is truly something to have that level of optimism and do this every day. I mean, you should be proud of yourself to be able to wake up with that much enthusiasm, comb through all of those frickin' leaks and just Twitter, and then get in front of a camera with a smile on your face and be able to present in such a way. It's something to be admired in you, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But winding back to his honesty videos, he made a connection between himself and Spawnwave.
There are other Nintendo YouTubers with the same exact titles. I'm not going to show you the name, but this is a Nintendo YouTuber that crushes it, does better than me, and look at their titles. They're very, very similar to mine. Eerily similar. Like, you could flip-flop them, it seems like. Nobody hates.
And he opened up questions about why he doesn't get as much hate when he reports on a rumor or a leak, whereas Spawnwave gets more positive feedback.
How do you change that? How do you convince somebody that hates you, that makes up or believes fake truths about you? How do you overcome that? How can you change when you know you're trying, you're committed, you're obsessive over trying to make it right and good, and you care so much, and you do this every dang day without rest? And people think you don't care and you're scummy and you suck. It's not so much the words, but like, how do you fix that? How do you change that? And I look around and I say, man, oh.
And I think it honestly comes back to the way that that news is delivered, my friend, the tone in which it is delivered. I've probably heard Spawnwave talk about Switch Pro as much as Zach, but the way Spawnwave approaches it, as an example, here's a side-by-side comparison of how Spawnwave and Switch Force both reported on the latest Nintendo Pro leak that came out back in July. I will point out that Spawnwave's is retrospective and Switch Force's is perspective, if that's a word.
Well, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic today, and that is the Nintendo Switch Pro. We had another scare for it this past week, and once again, nothing happened. I mean, we got a Splatoon 3 themed Switch, which is cool for Splatoon fans, but it wasn't that really powerful Switch system that people were hoping to see. And we've been through this many, many times now, and I've noticed that there is a lot of fatigue, frustration, annoyance, all of this going on.
So I'm trying to get the laundry done, and Nintendo decides to do something super crazy, and now I think a new Nintendo Switch system, the Pro system, is coming really soon.
When you act like this stuff is happening tomorrow, and then it doesn't, and you have to turn around and say, guys, I'm so mad at Bloomberg with all of you guys. I thought they were a reputable media source. Like, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. It leaves lingering resentment because they see you as that pedestal that put that news up. And then you turn around and say, no, it was them over there. Honest. I'm just the guy. I'm just the messenger. It's them.
I'm sorry, but this channel is the most clickbaited channel ever. Lie to yourself all you want, but over time, people will stop watching your videos.
You're seeing what happens to messengers in House of Dragons, right? That's what your audience does to you every time one of your promises falls flat. Hypothetically, metaphorically, metaphysically. They think about it. They think about doing it. They probably don't. Your audience is lovely. I mean, it probably would be fine for you to say such things to people, like, hey, look, Emily Rogers let us down. If you hadn't just spent the last week releasing 3 or 4 videos about the Switch Pro definitely releasing, and then top that all off with a 1-hour live stream of you and your friend speculating about when the pre-orders are going to go live and profiting from all the sponsorship deals, the ad clicks and revenue, and the super chats that you would have gotten.
It's so much smoke.
Yeah.
Let's get to this donation question real fast. It would be cool for them to sell D-pad Joy-Cons as an add-on, and that is a good thing worth mentioning. Do you think there's any chance that there are... Well, we know they're going to sell accessories like the Switch Pro case and the Switch Pro whatever, but...
like, you can see where the lingering resentment is building up from people who see you do all of this, and you're really using it as a business at this stage rather than doing a service to the people. So that whole persona of being a happy, positive guy based against the actual practices that you're doing is where people are getting pissed off. Then there's a conversation that comes up in that video around mental health, which... like, this is a hard topic to talk about, right?
And these comments that I saw really affected me and really made me depressed.
I don't want to assume too much about Zach's personal life. We all have our own shit going on, right? Our own stuff to deal with. And I don't have anything negative to say about him being open and honest about his own struggles. Like, I don't think there is any place or platform that isn't inappropriate to talk about that. And that's all good. But when I listen to the video, when I watch him talk about this entire thing, and I must have watched this one a dozen times in building this video here, I hear a few key issues that all seem to be intertwined. So You talk about the need to push limits of acceptable clickbait in your clickbait videos because that is what the YouTube system wants you to do, right? It's wanting you to follow this system and do these things.
I feel like everybody does this, and a lot of times does it way worse by saying things that absolutely aren't true, absolutely are misinformed, absolutely are not the point of the video, where I'm trying to still follow YouTube's, basically their commandments, their rules that they've established, and still do it in a way that's respectful and fun and truthful for you.
That's fair enough. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but in my view, you do that to the detriment of the community that you've already garnered, right? You've created a community of nearly 500,000 people who come back to watch your videos. They're not new viewers, sure, they come back to see you because they like what you do, they like your vibe, and they like what you deliver. So why are you spending so much time and energy trying to get more people from outside of your community to come in by degrading the quality of your work, degrading the honesty and transparency, because those people are only going to come in for that one video, see it, and then realize that you might not be what they're after and then not subscribe and go elsewhere. Meanwhile, you've got this audience that you've already created that come back every day for 100 to 200,000 views on your videos, who are just constantly getting more and more jaded by the practices that they see you unfolding. It's like that the meme of the guy that Girlfriend Reviews uses in all of their freaking titles. That's this situation, perfectly summed up, and that's why people are sounding off in your comments, because they're getting annoyed at what's happening. You're ignoring them, the girl on your arm, for some blurry forefront lady who you're checking out.
If you were me, would you consciously go against what the system is saying to do?
Again, that's just wild speculation, but if this rings true to you, Zach, if you can see this in your comments and your analytics, make a change. Don't do what the system tells you to do. Do what you feel happy with for your own mental health and for your own values and your own core beliefs. Just release videos and content that you think need to be spoken about or talked about. I'll leave that with you to mull over anyway. The second branch of this mental health conversation is I hear about all of the work that goes on in the background to deliver this daily show.
And, I've been here long enough to be a trusted part of the community, and I work my butt off for that. 7 days a week, I'm producing as many videos as just about anybody in the Nintendo space. A lot of days lately, we're doing 2, we're doing 3. I'm on that grind because I love it, and because I love bringing you fun information with a little Zach twist. Like, that's what I'm trying to do here. You can't spend 7 days a week, 2 videos a day, hours and hours on editing and thumbnails and Twitter and titles. I have done YouTube nearly every day of my life. On vacation, visiting family, with friends, at home, at night, in the morning, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, exhausted, tired, sad, mad, angry, still soldier on, and I make a lot of videos and I try to make them all good and I have a lot of fun with it.
There are 2 things here, and I empathize with you. I really do, because it's not easy. I've tried to keep to a video release schedule that was nowhere near what you do, or the scale that you do, and it frickin' stressed me out, man. Balancing that with family, with work, with other commitments, it was hard. So I can't imagine doing this as a business. It seems like it's almost impossible. And for people who do it as a business, we see time and time again that they get burnout. They either have severely reduced quality of content, or they have to take time away because they just stress themselves out. And again, this is just my opinion as a parasite sitting on the wall leeching up everything that you're talking about, but I feel like you have a love-hate relationship with YouTube or with the career here, because you love making videos, you love covering the topics that you talk about, but you hate the hate that comes back because you're not able to meet the quality or expectations of people, and so it drives you to try and do better. And I think somewhere there's like a brick wall you're heading towards. You need to step back and see things for what they are and spend time to actually make quality content rather than just pushing out content and pushing out content. I'll come back to this burnout in a moment, because that particular branch kind of splits off to what I want to talk about later on. But while we're still covering the mental health side of things, and again, I know nothing of your situation aside from one statement that you made.
I'm on a prescription for depression and anxiety, and I'm happy to say it works great.
and then information I could gather from just watching your videos, and arguably that's about as much information you had on the Nintendo Switch Pro when you started talking about it, so I'm going to talk about this as confidently as you would about that subject. When you released this video, your most honest video ever, you either just had a really bad day and you just needed to blow off steam, and that video did it, and now you're good again, right? And maybe you just need to do that every 6, 12, 14 months, whatever. Or maybe this is just always bubbling below the surface and the cracks are starting to show, and this is the real you that we're seeing, and it's not so much the audience reaction to what you're doing that would help you, but maybe changing your content so that reaction doesn't have to come to fruition, so that you don't have to feel this way. And I think it comes back to creating good content and putting stuff out that you can be super proud of, or taking a break and refueling those creativity tanks. That's just what I see. So we'll step away from the mental health side of things now and let that sit where it is, and just turning to the impacts of having a daily news show that's focused on Nintendo content. I still don't know how Zach's able to find enough content to fill up a daily news show, and this probably leads back to what we're talking about him filling it with fluff in his personal life and things like that, and that's absolutely fine. But focusing exclusively on Nintendo news, it's pretty bare on the ground. It's been really bare bones lately, and by lately I mean the last 2 years, which feels like it's only 2 months ago. But, you know, Zach's come to the realization himself, again, that he can't actually fill in a whole news show just with Nintendo. He started introducing like a little bit of Assassin's Creed, a little bit of this and that, and just talking about the wider gaming community in general. He's even started a second channel which focuses purely on superheroes, which is great. That's another one of his likes, and he's doing something to cover that and get some engagement and to talk about something else as well, which is healthy, I think.
I got a new channel. Crazy, weird, stupid, I don't know, but let me just give you the details, okay? It's called Scooper Heroes.
But then again, on top of everything, that's now another second channel to maintain, to create content for, to churn things out of the content house, and I can just imagine the level of stress that puts on poor Zach, the weight on his shoulders to keep delivering this stuff. Early on in his career, when the Switch was first released, there was so much stuff for him to talk about. There were new games, there were new devices or peripherals, whatever you want to call them, to attach to the Switch. There was speculation, announcements. It's kind of dwindled down, and the pandemic has made that worse. And so he really is struggling to find something new to talk about every day, which is why he's leaned into this, all of these rumors, leaks, and news, because it's something to talk about. So it's no wonder that Zach kind of finds himself in this death spiral of on his main channel of speculative rumors and leaks and keeping up with rumors that have already been spoken about, and how he kind of just ends up contradicting himself one day and then reporting the opposite the next day. As an example, here's a video back in August called "The September Nintendo Direct is Not Happening," where he reasons that there won't be a Direct.
It is August, and September is next, and that's when we think Nintendo will have their big presentation, but I want to talk about the fact that that September Direct may not happen, and I think we need to prepare ourselves for this reality. There is a chance, my friends, that Nintendo does not need another big Direct this year. Let that sink in. Goodness gracious. Part of this is because the Switch is so successful, okay? Part of this is because the Switch does so well. Their last financial call, we saw a drop in Switch performance, but the only reason is because of chip shortages.
Yet in a video he published the week of recording this, he's talking blatantly of the upcoming Direct.
Breaking news, because a Video Games Chronicle reporting on this adds much needed validity to our hopes and dreams for a September Direct, and soon, and now we have details.
Which again, at this moment, at this point in time, hasn't been confirmed. And then 14 minutes before I started recording this, he released another video saying the September Direct that has never been confirmed is delayed. So he does himself a disservice by covering all of these and talking about them in absolutes. You kind of get this Notre Dame situation, right? Where Zach is just covering any aspect of any rumor, throwing spaghetti at the wall left, right, and center just to see what sticks. And then when something does come true, he can allude to it later on and say, look, we spoke about the Nintendo Switch Pro having a 7-inch OLED screen, and it has it.
Just like the rumor. They weren't rumors, were they? They were leaks.
And then everything else about 4K is buried months and months under other content that's just churned out of the wheelhouse. And so only a complete loser would comb through it all and try and find it all and present it to you in a video like this one right here. that was a bit of a rambling mess. Thank you for sticking with me so far. To sum up that point, I guess Zach does very little over a lot of content, if that makes sense. Less is more. I think if he spent more time planning, less time actually delivering content, you know, it's like NFTs. You want scarcity to boost the value. If you're pumping out a video every day, what's the value in actually watching them all? And then you get that disconnection with people who stop by and watch a video and you say, yeah, the Nintendo Switch Direct, that's definitely happening in September. And they go, oh, I never saw this was announced. And they take your word for it because you're trying to build that trust. And then eventually that trust gets broken because the things you talk about never actually come to fruition. That's kind of the point I was trying to make. So the last piece I want to talk about here is just want to touch base about how Zach faces criticism and feedback and hate.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be constructive criticism. I'm not even saying there shouldn't be hate. It's inevitable, unavoidable, no matter what.
And look, I know it's YouTube, right? People have an unfiltered, direct access to the person who's annoying them, and they can say whatever they want. So you're always going to get people who just give you their unfiltered thoughts and opinions on what you've done wrong, why you look wrong, how you should live your life, all based on the fact that you just told them that you simply don't believe the Mandela effect is real. Or at least that's what happened for me. But even so, I didn't get anywhere near as much hate as Zach did when he said that Sonic Frontiers was a stink game. And the way he handled that whole situation, for me, I think is very telling of how much the vitriol and the feedback and the hate was really affecting Zach. So to catch you all up, since I know I'm nearing the very bottom of the Switchforce iceberg here after a year of passive research and investigation, and you guys are still on deck of the Titanic, peering out into the foggy darkness, about to get your hull ripped asunder by this looming shitstorm, Zach made an 11-minute video about how he believes that Sonic is a waste of $60.
I will not stand for people trying to sugarcoat things into you giving over $60 for something that is not worth it, all right? Based on the title, you know what game I'm talking about. This gets me worked up. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. If you disagree, this is just my opinion, all right? I'm being as truthful and honest as I can. I'm not doing that thing like, oh, let's hype the people up so that they watch the video. No, okay? It's my opinion. Feel free to disagree. Convince me otherwise. Happy to hear it. But everyone right now is saying Sonic Frontiers is good now, all of a sudden, and it's not.
So I don't have a problem with this. Zach spent time to make a video about his opinion. It's clearly an opinion piece. He states that in the intro to the video and in the title. Just because he couldn't articulate his opinion in a way to convince others that his opinion had value, that doesn't really matter to me. That's neither here nor there. But it seems to have mattered to a large number of people, and the fallout from that seemed to rattle Zach too.
Sir, is this thing on?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing just spiffy. It's my first episode here. I'm Jack from Switchforce, and I hope you'll give me a warm welcome because this is a big episode, a lot to handle. For a first day, we've got an exciting, huge game leak for 2023. Nintendo dropping some kind of depressing knowledge about a few different games, and then we also need to cover a missing YouTuber. A decently popular YouTuber has...
I know he tried to play it off as a joke, like it didn't affect him, and that Zach had run off and this new character Jack had taken over Switchforce and that he'd gone missing because of his opinions. But to me, and again, this is just my observation and my opinion, it seemed like a really weak gimmick to cover the fact that he was actually pretty upset by the whole thing. And it was maybe like a little bit attention grabby as well, like similar to the kind of attention he got after making the clickbait video and the honesty video. He was really appealing to his core audience who support him and bring him up to kind of agree with him and be like, no, Zach, come back, Zach, we need you back, mate. So just linking back through all of our previous points, because they all, again, they kind of intertwine to this point here. Zach has a brand where he's known as being a happy-go-lucky guy who's very positive, friendly, has, positive vibes on his channels, and he has created a parasocial relationship with a number of his audience members, and many of his viewers trust what he says. They come here for that positive vibe. And then he churns out yet another video from his YouTube wheelhouse of content where some of his finer points just probably weren't as sharpened as they should be. His opinion, while completely valid because it's an opinion, the way he articulated it probably just didn't share enough with his audience or give enough reason as to why this opinion should be a video and why the video should be taken with any grain of salt. So again, I don't care if he has an opinion on Sonic. Couldn't care less. But his audience really did. And then he cared about their opinion. So just going through the comments, this one I believe sums up the majority of the people who felt a particular way about his video the best. So I'll just read it for you verbatim. I disagree with this in a lot of ways. Not because I'm a Sega fan. I'm a Sega fan, but I never thought Sonic lended itself very well to an open world game. So really, for the first time, Sega's giving me the prove me wrong mindset. I disagree with this because it's not constructive.
They designed a game where they thought you deserved geometric enemies, giant towers for bosses, and random, sporadic, not grouped together in any sort of organized or artistic way objects for you to climb and slide and fall off of.
Literally every game.
Imagine if in Mario Bowser's Fury, instead of fighting Koopas and Goombas and giant birds with beaks and all sorts of other creatures, you fought shapes.
But it's not a Mario game. It's a Sonic game.
Instead, it's literally just, I don't know, go in a circle around this loop, go in a circle around this grind rail, and then go in a circle 6 times around this giant geometric object, because that's how you beat it. Drawing circles around enemies is not fun.
Isn't there literally a game made by Nintendo where you do that on the DS?
It is a absolute joke that Sonic Frontiers comes out the day before God of War Ragnarok. Those two games could not be farther apart.
Most of this criticism has been it's not Mario or it's not like God of War. Good, because I bought a Sonic game to play Sonic. If I wanted Mario, I'd buy Mario. Saying it's not like Mario is a stupid criticism.
There has been no part of Sonic Frontiers that show that they have any idea what would make a really cool open world game that has boring mechanics and looks like not a great execution and has visual problems.
Okay, expand on that. Don't just say it's low quality without explaining why it's low quality. No wonder Sega doesn't know what to do with Sonic. Nobody expands upon what they mean. I understand that it's just your opinion and your job is literally to tell us what you think, but you're just picking parts about the game and don't really expand upon what you mean. I'm not defending the game or Sega. I'm saying this is the kind of criticism that doesn't help Sega. So this is perfectly summing up why Zach's audience is upset with him. In their eyes, he didn't do his due diligence to explain to them accurately why he thinks it's not worth $60. He just explained why he doesn't want to buy the game. And that's fine. He doesn't have to buy the game. Nobody cares about that. And me personally, I don't think it's any different to any other video that he's made covering leaks or rumors or anything like that, because he just doesn't break it down to that level of detail. He just gives his flighting opinion of what he's seen and how that meshes with the narrative that he's been building for the past couple of months or years or whatever. He doesn't give these ideas time to percolate and actually flesh them out and become something worth actually absorbing. But it's what Zach did next that really irked me.
It had to be said, and hopefully you can understand that I'm just trying to be authentic with you, and I'm open to hearing other opinions. This was not received well. Sonic super fans are just so confident this game is going to be great and exceed expectations that they were not happy with his personal own opinion.
So Zach can see how his video was ratioed, right? In his YouTube studio. He can see the dislikes if he wants to, because we all can.
This cool video being peppered with hate. Oof, Switch Force, 102 thumbs up. That hurts.
And he saw the feedback not only from his fans, but from the general wider community, from other YouTubers as well. And instead of stepping back in and saying something genuine that aligned with his brand, that aligned with his values, and addressing the conversation, instead he just inserted this character called Jack into his videos and played it off that Zach had gone AWOL and was upset and was throwing a bit of a hissy fit. You know, okay, yeah, it's kind of funny, I guess, but if you boil it down, it's a little bit of a shitty move to make. He let this gag run for 2 whole episodes, and then on September the 1st, he released this video where he was kind of like addressing the situation, pretending to be on the run, and it came across really like a fob off to the people who cared about their opinions not being valued.
Freaking Sonic fans, man. I am in hiding, but I had to bring you a video. I wanted you to know that I'm all good, and the show must go on. Who would have thought saying Sonic's drawn circles would have elicited so much pain and punishment, and then we find out that he also does zigzags, so I gotta stay out of the limelight here.
The whole thing was just super tone deaf.
I was really surprised to see how protective everyone was. I guess I should have guessed that. I guess I should have assumed that. I didn't. lesson. No, I don't even want to say lesson learned, because I want to say my honest opinion no matter what.
So if you haven't actually learned anything from the experience, maybe this unsolicited advice will help. Zach, if you're going to release a video that's not in the normal vein of your content, like you know it's going to rub people up the wrong way, script it. Sit down. Write it out. Like I did with this. When you're done, let Gabe read it. Let somebody you trust read it. Let them tell you if there's anything wrong and take on board that feedback. Read it again yourself once you're done. Make sure that the finished product matches the idea that you set out with, or if it's evolved, is it more valuable? Does it align with your brand, with you, who you are, with what your messaging is? Once you've done all that and you're happy with it, film it. If it no longer matches what you wanted to do, throw it out. Put it back into the compost, let it decompose, and then maybe you can grow something new from it. But if you're going to film it, edit it, watch it. And if that video reflects what you wrote down on that paper that you agreed with, then publish it. Put it up on YouTube. And then if you get pushback on the end product, like you did with your Sonic video, you kind of have 3 variations of choices that you can make, which I'm going to break down for you. The first one is what you did, which is turning your viewers' feedback into a joke gag, which sounds fun, doesn't it? When you're a fun, happy-go-lucky guy, it sounds fun to make it into a joke gag, right? And then finally address that feedback in a way that just dismisses those people's opinions because they didn't agree with your opinion. What you got to realize, by taking this approach, by dismissing their opinions of you, you're destroying that parasocial relationship that you've spent the last 5 or 6 years building. Since this is the choice you went with, you get to see in real time how it impacts your standing with your analytics. You get to see all of that and then decide whether or not it was the right choice. Choice number 2, which you haven't done, and I'm surprised you didn't, because this seems like it would be more in line with the type of person that you are, and it also would have shown that you respected the input and value of your viewers, who are the lifeblood of your channel, as you've said so before. That would have been to validate the feedback and address it directly. You don't have to agree with it, but just validating it and showing that you're listening and that you're doing something about it, right? Instead of spinning it off into fake drama. If the next day, instead of going out and purchasing a blonde wig and some aviators, you just turned on the camera and said something like, "I'm hearing you. You guys had some really good points about my take on Sonic, and I understand and appreciate that we're all individuals. We all have our own wants, needs, likes and dislikes. We all have our own different backgrounds, and after reading through your comments, I can see that there's a lot of passion and excitement about this upcoming game. And as somebody who gets really passionate and excited about games that other people might not think are worth the time of day, I can appreciate that you are not going to be deterred by somebody else's opinion, that you're going to still jump in and have a good time. And I hope that you do. I hope that it is worth the money that you spend on it. Personally, myself, I'm going to save that $60 and then buy the Hogwarts Legacy game when it comes out. But also, like, just totally unrelated to all of this, how awesome does that game look? I can't wait for February. At the end of the day, these are just opinions. They're not hurting anybody. And as long as you're happy doing what you do and you're not hurting anyone, then all power to you. I hope you enjoy the Sonic game, but I won't see you on there. If you just said that in your jazzed up Zach fashion, you know, I think you could have avoided a lot of lingering resentment once again. When people see you lump, like your fans see you lump them into Sonic fans and like, oh, these Sonic fans out here, you know, like.
All right, love you guys lots. Thanks again. Hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're not pissing off Sonic fans.
And then have the audacity to look ticked off because they didn't value your opinion while you were shitting on their favorite game. Validating how they responded to you. You don't have to agree with it, but just validating that response would have gone a long way to restoring some faith that the people have lost in you. And it would have also aligned a lot better with your positive vibes that you perpetrate throughout the rest of all of your videos. And then there's the last approach you could have taken, which I don't think you would have, but I would have. And so I'm going to talk about it here. You gave your opinion and a bunch of other people expressed theirs too. And this isn't drama. This isn't the end of the world, you know? You're a news channel and the reaction to something that you said or a tweet from another YouTuber about your opinion is not, it's not content worthy.
No, like it's supposed to be fun. We're having like an adventure together.
I've been in that position before and I've had somebody react to my content and trust me, dragging them through the mud is not worth it for yourself or for them. If you're willing to keep going with your positive messaging and focus on the news and just do a damn good job of what you do and just don't look back, just keep delivering good news without wild speculation that keeps landing you in this shit in the first place, in these like quarterly shitstorms that you seem to be seeing yourself in when something you've reported on isn't delivered.
All right, I see your comments, and so we gotta talk about it, okay? Not a fun video to make, but a necessary one, and one I honestly, I don't have a problem making because it's human, and I will own up right now to the fact that I was wrong. It has become loud enough that I want to address it.
I'm not making this video to try and get your sympathy. This gets me worked up.
I mean, like, if you just do that and report and continue to put out the quality work, then maybe you can finally become Spawnwave. So that's kind of the end of that segment. Let's recap on it and break down the 5 steps that I think you, Zach, could take away from this whole video. Maybe implement or embed in some way or fashion, and then maybe your channel could be something better than what it is now. Something resilient and beyond the criticism and the hate that you're seeing coming through. So, number 1. Presentation! If you're going to continue reporting on leaks and rumors and present your own speculation, you need to make a clear visual and audible cue when you're talking about a rumor, a leak, and actual news. So, because you do this thing where you talk in hyperbole a lot, and it's unclear where that transition starts. You know it in your mind, because your mind's going 1,000 miles per minute.
What's next for Switch Online? Every September, they usually love to do a big update. Last year, they brought in the expansion pack, and oh, what month is it? September. A Direct is coming? Yes. Nintendo Switch Online is going to get a substantial increase in the coming days, and I think there's an interesting debate on which way they should go.
It's really hard to find that pinpoint of where this is just Zach's thoughts, and this is what is actually happening, and this is what the rumor actually covers. It's all blurs and meshes together, and you need to do something there to help your audience understand what you're excited about, what you think might happen, what is the actual rumor and who's responsible for delivering that rumor, and then what is actually confirmed by Nintendo and we can guarantee is coming our way.
I was gonna save this for Good Morning Mario, but it's way too freaking important. So good middle of the night, Mario, we've got breaking news.
I think a lot of what drives this behavior, Zach, of bringing this news in the way that you do is the competition of being first to market, first to get eyes on it. You get that news, that tweet, and you just rush to your mic and your camera and you rush it out. I think in this day and age, it's not just a problem with you, it's a problem with all media, and it ends up with there being a lot of information having to go back and be clarified and redacted, and that's how you end up in these situations that we're in now where important information is pushed out, and without that step to actually make sure it's correct and okay and that we're doing the right thing by the audience and by the people we're talking about. And so I think if you can focus on that brand rather than just getting a roughly scrapped together video, if you focus on building that brand and building that quality, people will come back and view you because they want to see you, they want to see your positive vibes, and you have the added benefit of bringing quality news that's accurate and trustworthy. Number 2, clickbait. Just stop doing it for a week or so. Just take clickbait entirely out. I know everybody tells you to do it, and you're in this grind of putting it out there because you think it's eye-catchy.
I think we need to sort of reframe this clickbait word, and everything isn't clickbait. Because really, everything is clickbait. Like Fruit Loop saying it's the most delicious cereal. Well, that's clickbait. Who proved that?
The whole system was telling you to do something. Why would you want to follow that system? Why wouldn't you rather be an outlier that does something different, does something interesting? As an example, just totally off the top of my head, get a pine cone, put it in the middle of your thumbnail, and put yourself on the left hand or right hand side or whatever, doing your expression, and then just have plastered across the top in whatever color you want, in Arial bold font, Nintendo has some news today. And then in the title, put what that news is, and then talk about whatever you want. See how it goes. Be fun. Make it a meme. Make it something that people don't expect. Like, why the hell is there a pine cone? People are going to come to you regardless, right? You have like over 400,000 subscribers. You've got a huge following. They come to you for the daily, and they'll see that you're having fun with it, and they'll go along with it. Try it out. And if I'm wrong, if it doesn't work out, roll it back to what you were doing before. At the moment, you're doing the exact same thing that like RGT85, Andre's Reset, Spawnwave, all these other creators are doing. And if you stand out in the crowd, maybe that'll help you get that little edge that you're looking for, while still valuing the people who come to you every day to watch you for what they expect.
You guys have been here for me for 6 years now, which is crazy. I can't believe the Switch has been around that long.
Recap point number 3, brand and burnout. A lot of the frank discussions that you've had recently in your honesty videos and your clickbait videos, they seem to see you walking down this blade's edge of balancing the needs of grabbing more audience or audience retention, maximizing that reach, as well as balancing the needs to make your channel a viable business and income, right? I understand and appreciate the approach. You got to do the hustle to make the cheddar. But there is a core of your audience, and I can see this in the comments time and time again, that there are just people who are just getting jaded by the sheer amount of content that comes out. And they're eventually going to turn away, or that's why you get 400,000 subs and only 100,000 views. And then you can drill, again, in your analytics, you can drill down to another level and see what percentage of those are actually returning subscribers, or how many people are just there for when the big news comes out. And then that drives you to make those clickbait videos, and then drives more resentment because it's not actually being delivered. But for your own well-being, this is my, again, unsolicited advice for you that you haven't asked for. It would be to take a break. Do less of this. Maybe a few days here and there, just to get your head back in the game, to give you that creativity time, because you can't be creative every day for this long without having burnout. I know you have an active lifestyle, that you engage with friends and family, you work out, that's all really good, but you're the type of person, I know, I can see it, who brings this channel with them everywhere they go.
I have done YouTube nearly every day of my life. On vacation, visiting family, with friends, at home, at night, in the morning, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day.
They're always constantly thinking about the next video. What are we going to do next? And it impacts you in every aspect of your life, which is, it's good to have a career that you can be proud of and do that, but I think it also, you need to have that balance and that separation as well. I'd suggest take that time so that you can develop what you're going to say, so you don't find yourself in a situation where people say bad opinion, bad you, where you can actually articulate everything you want to talk about. And if your livelihood does rely on daily uploads oh my god, my camera just died, so you guys are on my phone now. But where were we? Yeah, like if your livelihood relies on your commitment to your daily uploads so that you can meet your sponsorship requirements, then keep doing the Monday to Friday thing, you know, but take the weekends, take some time off to actually refresh those and refuel those tanks. Maybe change the cadence of your shows a little bit. Spend Mondays and Fridays talking about leaks and rumors, so that people who are here for the leaks and rumors stuff know that they'll get that after the weekend and before the weekend. Spend Tuesdays and Thursdays going into confirmed topics, so that you can again break down by show what your audience is there for. If they're there for the speculation and the rumors, then fine, keep talking about them. If they'd rather have the confirmed news on a Tuesday or a Thursday, if you get higher volumes there, that's what they like and appreciate, pump that stuff out. Spend Wednesdays doing your reviews of games or covering trailers, doing those reactions. You can spend 10 minutes doing that, you know? And then people know that on those days they might get unpopular opinions about Sonic Frontiers. And it at least sets you up for success, because it will let your audience know what to expect when. And, you know, again, if the cadence doesn't work, you can just change it. My arm's getting tired. And finally, don't feel like you need to create a second channel to talk about your superheroes. Like, I see that channel, the viewership is getting hurt. You've got much more talent and ability to present. Make that a segment. Maybe that could be a weekend segment that you work on throughout the week and you deliver on a Saturday, so that you still get that passive income from the views on that. I don't think splitting out your channel between Switch Force and superheroes is a good idea, because you're just not going to get the coverage that you want. Doing it this way, I do know the big issue that's going to come up is that you might miss the boat on some content. There might be some news that you really want to cover that you get beaten to market on by somebody else. But I'm going to be honest with you here. And this is me. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I see your videos come out first. I see the topics that you cover, and then I wait for Spawnwave to cover them, because he just does it in a way that I can trust, that I'm getting the news that I need. And he also uses the chapters feature, so I can jump straight to the topic that I want, because I might not care about hearing about PC gaming or Xbox gaming. I'll just go for the topic that I need, and then I'm out of there. And you yourself can do this. You can see if people are watching your full video, or if they're just watching the first 2 minutes. I'm losing my voice, man. And finally we get to point number 4, and that's addressing hate and feedback. Hopefully, if you implement these first 3 in a really positive way, you keep doing what you're doing with the positivity and the vibes, you'll minimize the amount of feedback or hate that you get. But there's still, like, let's be honest, this is YouTube. You're still going to get it. I mean, I can guarantee that in this video alone, there's going to be somebody down below and who has, like, I'll pin this if it happens, but they'll unironically say, leave him alone, he's better than you, he's got more subs than you, what are you even talking about? So, or words to that effect. So, like, I know there's always going to be the hate that comes through. My suggestion is that, and you obviously are scaled above me, so you've got a lot more comments, but I read as many comments as I can, and I look at what I see as being valuable feedback, and what I can take out of it, and what's just a waste of my time. But for you, because you obviously get a lot more comments, filter it by the top likes. What is your community agreeing with? Read that. If it's positive, cool, take it on board. That's a feel-good, you know, you could even do a comment of the day, even though that's, again, stealing something from Spawnwave. Or, if it's negative, have a read of it. Does it actually resonate with you? Is there value in that? Passively change what you're doing to align with what that person suggested. And if you see a good result, keep doing it. I think there's a lot of value in the community that you've created around yourself that they're bringing to you, and it feels like if you just ignore it, if you just shrug it off as just people's bad opinion, you're missing out. So the feedback is there for a reason, and sometimes, you know, it's valid. So I suggest, like, roll with the punches if you feel like you have made a mistake. You don't have to address it, you just have to be aware of it and know that that is going to direct your life going forward to avoid that mistake again. If you don't think you've made a mistake, just ignore it. Ignore the feedback, let it go. And you might be right and go on, live your life and be happy. Or you might be wrong, and then it's a very painful learning path ahead for you. So that's the end of the video now. I don't know who would have watched this. Zach, if you did watch this, look, nothing personal. Nothing personal at all. I just think that these are some steps you can take to improve what you do and to avoid getting yourself into these situations that seem to be coming up again and again for you. I think you've got the capacity to do much, much better, and these are some of the suggestions I have for you to see that realized. For anyone else who came along on this journey and watched this, and now you're all amped up and you're going to go over to Zach's channel and, like, leave some hate comments, don't do that. Instead, take all that energy and that stoke that you have and go do something else with it. You can go visit my buddy, the Jaded Man. If you want to hear a dude with a lovely Welsh accent do some Let's Play videos. He's only got a few. He's only a very small channel. He's got like 20 subscribers, but I'm going to leave a link to him here. I would suggest go check him out. Make his day. He's about to become a father. He has no idea I'm doing this. So yeah, just everybody go over there and comment on his videos. That would be fucking funny. You'd be like, what's going on? I'm sure that would really stoke his fire. Anyway, I'm losing my voice. I've got some rum to distill behind me, so I'm going to go do that. There may be more videos in the future about that sort of thing, and less about this sort of thing. I've been Unoriginal. Thank you very much for watching. I'm signing out right now. Bye, 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 goodbye.
Ah! I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Ah!